Good morning.
China,
Boss.
how they go on?
Now dear my picture.
All right.
One thing I am my bread.
Sana yeah. So open your friend saying open here or so bre. Oh bra, no one said that ye deal about.
But yeah, my bread.
And your crowd.
Yeah.
Oh.
After this week, me sure that we be a bag.
Na so sika na bounce wa ubogu hono. And no one kasa.
Scam papa bay.
Sika na papa.
Scam na. Pena.
And no more you condemn.
To me condemn.
Oh. No.
Oze.
No sano. About the same about the same.
Then mission development.
Yeah, Mumbai.
When I dear events for each function, the other me to my boy situation.
Ade. Ese adwuma no maye egu ho.
Asa me to my boy. Say they now watch na
One tie. Ana wa ungusua enso.
There be no credit back.
Eno yo fedi agro.
Afame.
Anya dia ai se dia utrai ye ne. Me be go through it. The maye no for EC2 no and VPC now me maye no me be go through it. Na ma record it. Na me the recording at all. Because I will
catch up.
I will only go forward. I will not go backwards. As my catcher said, Charlie, I didn't know free inti. Upa, you have to take it. Upa, also actually. Paul said, I'm proud me joining it. Jesse, so also Uncle be so more year. End of year reports. Inti omoye ha just almost one issue. So you end of year conclusion. And you know about the Saturday dia na say be okay. I mean yes just start it. And then them say be me no pe.
Yeah. Because na work no adan dey ChatGPT ben so nti ase
Dabi
me hwa na wa na ase me hu nti na nyo
ChatGPT no or ChatGPT ko si hin o betimi the ChatGPT akwa open heart surgery
so no nti na me kan say me ba na me nyanti ase no because said the ochire ni nyina me nyanti ase nya bibia tiane minim me kwa minim de me na me ye ya na ma say oh yes say me
na one o de ayi your friend say I knew so because boy go ChatGPT how to create a VPC or the code remember
say no na American code ni o de be ma o be run ya be ba bibia but
o ti ase
asa me ti ase
o ti ase code no de be ma na me kra we am ye so who say ni city wa code no some share
ma hu EC2 de no
you know they say VPC there me from my na copy and paste
tell America say like there's no point say obegwa copy no paste ya bra won ti ase exams
EC2 na wa ye no and no na wa ye no maybe code through it. So now what will happen is EC2 I will still leave people to do the VPC because I have already done the VPC module. There are videos there explaining how and what they are. All of them are there. I have given a task to create a VPC module in our project.
In my free Jumamba and I yes, my videos nibi to know video na no. I'm say I do a watch na mini hana.
I didn't know.
My
videos no.
And then third most recent videos today. I'm saying
videos no. I say I didn't watch na mini hana. The videos
I didn't mini hobby. I didn't me jai towards the week we met that home. So week we the should have busy sir. Me name there, but
the videos are there. The videos are there. All you have to do is to go back to the videos, watch them, and practice. Spend at least 2 hours more in the whole week on this. Until Saturday, Sunday, now I spend another 2 hours on it in the whole week to catch up, to learn. Anyway, let's get started. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go to my GitHub. And we use GitHub. Oh no, let me connect to AWS. Let me connect to AWS and let's do it from there. I'm still not going to share the code for VPC because it took me 2 hours. Even me. Even me. It took me 2 hours to get the VPC working as it should. Even me and ChatGPT. So if you think you can just sit there and not learn this and it will just happen, you are really, 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 really joking.
It's true.
You're joking. Yeah, last night, Charlie, VPC, it took me like a lot of hours to do the EC2, no? And then when I finished the EC2, then I started working on the VPC. All of it I did it yesterday. Because the fact is...
But wait, is it the EC2 you asked us to do last week?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that how we did it, it's not the right way.
Oh, it's not just that. It's the fact that I obviously also have to take you through it. I've given you an assignment.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I have to take you through the assignment. And then... you compare to what you did, you get my point.
Yes.
So this one is going to be a review of the EC2 assignment. Okay. A review of the EC2 assignment. I have also gone and done it. There will be things that I've added that you probably might have not heard before. So this is how I would have done it. So then you can actually compare to your own because of recording into American Brofono. Yeah. Hey, Charlie, AWS cost me £35 this month. Oh, God.
Last month I made £4. I'm her billing.
Oh no, mine. I have realized that I bought some domains. My beer company be. I'm Tony domain.com. No, that was AWS. Okay. Right. Let's start. So today we are going to go through the assignment. The first one, the EC2 assignment. We have given you 2 assignments. One is to create a module for EC2 to be used to deploy our personalized greetings project, this EC2, using Terraform. And then the other one is also to create a VPC module that when the module is completed, we will then deploy the EC2 into that VPC. We will see how it's done in Terraform. But at the moment, I just want people to just create an EC2 module and apply, and create a VPC module, apply, and then we'll see how we can bring them all together. Or you can create the VPC module, EC2 module. When you apply in the personalized greetings, it will be one project that it will create the VPC and the EC2, even if the EC2 is not sitting in the VPC. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen and show you how I got around with the EC2 creation. Let me open my Cloud9 and share my screen. Entire screen. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can see.
All right, so the first thing I'll do is I'll go to the, let me zoom in because I know you will cry. I'll go to the personalized greeting folder. Hey, computer, how are you doing? Okay, and then I'm going to share the folder structure. So I'll just run a command, a new program. Let's share 3 levels. Okay, so in the personalized greetings folder, this is how I have gone around with it. Okay, so we have a README for the project, and we have the deploy scripts, and these are SSH scripts. We can even put Python scripts there. This is the deploy scripts. We've got our indexed.html, and we've got our nginx config also here. We've got our .js file, which is script. And then we created a new folder called Terraform, which is going to host all our Terraform files. In that folder, we have modules and personalized greetings, both folders. So we've got the modules folder and the personalized greetings folder. The project, the main root project, the Terraform project, will be run from the personalized greetings folder, but then we have modules that we are creating in the modules folder. In the modules folder, we have an EC2 module and a VPC module. Okay. In the EC2 module are config files for the EC2 module, and then let me actually clear and do maybe level 4. Yeah. Let's do level 4. Okay. So with level 4, we actually also see the files in the EC2 modules, as you can see. So we've got the module EC2. I have a README there that describes what this module is, and I have my EC2 .tf output.tf variable.tf. In the VPC, which I'm not going to share today, I also have a README there of my outputs, variables, and VPC, and all of them will be called from here. Okay. So when you're running a Terraform plan and apply, you'll be running it from this folder, which is the personalized greetings folder. And then this will then go and create a VPC and an EC2. I have this file here, which is not needed for now. I haven't taught anybody tf vars. That's a variable file. This is empty at the moment, but it's there. We're going to get there when we get there. So this is the file structure. In the Terraform, this is how it should look like. Okay, I will share this in the WhatsApp chat. Let me take a screenshot instead. Take a screenshot. I'll just share this part. Okay, so this is how I've gone around it.
Yeah, okay. So that means if we do Terraform plan and apply from the personalized greetings folder,
It will
it's going
create.
to create both the EC2 and VPC.
Yeah.
Because we are calling the modules from that side, the main.tf.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the plan. All right. So now let's look at the EC2. So let me close all these folders. And let's go through the code, focusing on the EC2. Okay. So the EC2 module, we have one file called EC2. And this EC2, I am creating a private key, and I'm downloading the private key, okay, with Terraform. Give me 2 seconds. Let me sort the route. Okay, so yeah, back. This is the EC2, and in this EC2 config, as you can see,
I think you would want to increase the size because if you record and put it on YouTube, we'll not see it.
but for you, what do you need it for?
Yeah, me, I can strain my eyes and see it, but I'm not sure
But
if
you are here today, so in YouTube, what do you need it for?
Hey, I'll go and watch again.
Okay, so in this EC2 module config file, we are doing 2 things. Well, we are creating the EC2, and we are creating a key pair. Okay, remember those days we go into AWS, we create a key, and we put the key name as a variable. Okay, but this one, we are creating a new one from scratch. Okay, and these are the this is the code that creates the key. So in AWS, you create an SSH key. So here we specify the resource, and obviously you know that this is the logical name, private key, and we are telling it the type of key we want to create. Okay, and then we download the key when it's finished. Okay, we download it, and then we download it, and we put the file on this machine, this local machine, wherever you're running Terraform from, but we are putting a variable. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the generated key. So this code generate the key pair in AWS, and then you generate this as well. So to create a key and download it, you need these 3 blocks. Okay, in Terraform. I'm not going to go through it because there's not a lot of things. So you just say keep AWS key pair, the type of key, and then in the key pair, you specify the name of the key you're creating and the type. You see the type is here. As you can see, TLS public key. So to create a key, you need a type, which is generated here. The algorithm is here. So you pass it open here. Yeah. And then obviously your default tags. So that's the code to generate a SSH key. All right. And then when you're creating the EC2 instance, EC2 instance has arguments for, obviously, you know that it has an argument for AMI, the type of instance. Subnet ID is not needed for when you're creating it on a default platform, but you can actually specify which subnet you want it to go. what AWS does is, or Terraform does is, if you say I want to put it in subnet A, it will put it in that VPC that subnet belongs to. Okay, so subnet A is in VPC B, then the EC2 will go to the VPC B. Okay, so you don't need to actually specify which VPC, you just tell it where the subnet is. Okay, and then we have the key pair that we are going to use. Okay, normally what we do is we just specify a name here, but this time around, the name, we are getting it from here. Okay, so it says AWS key, which is getting it from this output. If you go to the way I showed you how to get values from resources created, AWS key, generated key. So it says AWS key dot generated. So basically, let's go here. And then when you go here, find the key name and pass that key name to this parameter here. Okay, so the key that was generated here, the name, pass it here. Okay, I also added this parameter to say that use default VPC and subnet is true, associate public IP. So here in the basically, if you create the EC2, I want you to add a public IP for it. Okay, I want a public IP, and then I have tags. Now, what I'm doing is I'm using functions to create my tag, and there's a function called merge. Okay, so what I've done is in my variables, I have a default tag variable, which is a map. Okay.
Okay, question.
Yeah.
So the use default VPC subnet associate public IP address is called true.
So so this one, I need to remove this. It's not a good description. We are not using default. Well, we are using default VPC. You're going to be using default VPC, but in the end, yeah, let me you're going to use default VPC and subnet, but you're saying that in that VPC, in this EC2, I want a true. That's all. This is a bit confusing. Let me remove it from there. Okay, it doesn't matter. You're just saying that when the machine comes online, it should have a public IP.
Wouldn't it have a public IP anyways without that line?
No. So this is why I say when I teach you something, you need to actually practice. So if you go to EC2 and you create an EC2, all those configurations are there. Most of the times, they are set by default. Okay, they are set by default. So if we decide to launch an EC2, yeah, this is why practice. Yeah, if you decide to launch an EC2, and then you look at every detail. If you come here, auto assign public IP enabled. This can be disabled.
Okay.
It can be disabled. Okay. So by default, if you don't specify it, it is enabled anyway. But there are some subnets or VPCs that when you're creating the VPC, every VPC has its own configuration. Some VPCs will have it enabled by default. Some VPCs will have it disabled by default. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's the plan. So when you are creating an EC2, how is it that it's going back to
Opie,
yeah.
The last time it's a bit weird. When I was doing the models on the EC2, I was able to create the EC2, but I didn't put in the key pair, but it still worked. Does it work sometimes? Do we have a default key or something like that? Because it still created the EC2.
It will create the EC2, but it will not attach a key pair to it.
Okay.
You can create an EC2 with no key pair.
Okay.
Yeah. It happened to me before. Well, Cloud9 doesn't have a key pair. Look, if you go to Cloud9, the EC2 that's running Cloud9. This zoom is too much. Okay, so look at this one. It doesn't have a key, but the EC2 is created. If you come here to where it says key, see, key pair at launch, 0.
Key pair assigned at launch.
Yeah. Okay. So that means that you just don't want to connect to the machine using SSH. So you didn't configure. Yeah. If you need to connect to the machine using SSH, you attach a key pair. Okay. So that's what happened.
All right.
And OP, that with that said, that means you can use an already existing key pair.
Yes. So basically, in EC2, they have a place that you can create key pairs. Okay. And if you already have the key pair and you know the name, you can just put, and you have access to the private key as well, you can just put this key as a value and put it there. Yeah. If it's already created in AWS and you have access to, you've already downloaded the private key, then in Terraform here where it says key pair, you just put the name there into brackets.
Yeah, because I think I used my old keys.
Yeah, you can use that one.
You can use that one, but for me, I'm generating a key.
Yeah,
and I'm using it.
Got you.
Dynamically. Yeah, I'm using it dynamically. Okay. Because when I terminate, I want to be able to delete everything, and when I create a new one, it will bring a new key. All right. So let's talk about this function merge, which is a function. As you say, I already told you, a function is. This is how functions looks like everywhere in programming. Function name and parentheses, open and close parentheses, and everything that you want to do to the function happens here. Yeah, in the middle of the parentheses. Yeah, that's you calling the function and you're passing information to the function. Okay, so as you can see, the function is to merge something. The word merge is a simple English. I'm not going to explain that. And we open and close the function. And this function takes two things: what you are merging and what you're merging with. Okay, so something you're merging together. Okay, and this one is going to merge a map. You can go and look into deep dive of Terraform merge function and watch a lot of things on there. Okay, so that's that. This here will then lead us to the variables file, because in the variables file, we created a default tag. Okay. Now, this is a module. So if you go to the variables file, you realize that we don't have any defaults. So we create a variable and put a description and then specify the type of the variable. That's it. But this means that when you run, even if you run Terraform plan from here, from the EC2 folder, it will ask you for these variables. And that's a way of creating a module. Module means that it doesn't have any default variables. When you're creating it, you have to pass the variables to it, okay, every time. That way, you get to create multiple different resources with different names and parameters. And so here, this variable requires the path where you want to store the key when we download it, the name that you're going to create the key. If you want to create the key called Chris, this variable will deal with that. The AMI you're going to use, instance type, the name you're going to give to the instance, as in the name, the tag, and we have the default tag. And as you can see, that one is a map of strings. Okay, a map of strings. Okay, we will see how the map looks like. We've created a map before when we're doing the VPC, and then we will specify the subnet ID. Okay, the subnet ID is not required if you're using the default, but even if you're using the default, you can still pass the subnet ID. Okay, for me, I'm passing the subnet ID because I know that when I start using this VPC module, I will be putting that subnet from that VPC module here. And that's why the subnet ID from there. So I'm thinking ahead for when I have to use my own VPC. And that's it. The module is created. I have an output file that outputs the key path. It gives me the private key path, where to go and download it. When I create the key, what is the location? How can I download this key? How can I find this key? So it tells you exactly where you put it and the public key of the instance that it was created, and then the instance ID. That's all I need for now in this module. Okay. Any questions?
No.
Good. Now we created a module. Let's go and call it. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't want to share the VPC at all, but you see some because I've done everything. Okay. So here is the module where I'm going to call the module. Okay. Now, of course, you need your backend block. Okay. I'm also adding a lock using a DynamoDB table. We'll get there. Don't get confused with it. I'm adding it here because I wanted to teach you Terraform locks and what it's for and all that. So I'm creating a lock using a DynamoDB table. So I specify where I'm going to put my backend, which is the state file. It's going to be in S3, and I'm going to call it this key. The key can be anything, but it needs to be descriptive enough because you can use this same bucket for multiple projects. Okay. The region I'm using, I'm going to create this resource, which we've all decided that we're going to use North Virginia, and the table of the DynamoDB, the Dynamo table that I want to use as my locking mechanism. I'm encrypting this information. Okay. The backend S3 has a lot more things you can put here, but you need to look at it and then look at each one and say, oh, this is what that does. This is what that does. There's more to backend S3 than this. Okay. And then from there, I'm creating my EC2. From there, I'm creating my EC2. And as you can see, the module EC2. And you specify where you want to, which module you want to use. Where is it located? There. We all know about this. Now, from here going are the variables. All the variables that the module require, you're going to put it here. So the variable name and then the value that you're putting. The variable name, the value. We have a variable for key name in there, as you can see, key name. And that is exactly as the name of the variable. So in the module, you're now going to pass the variables to the module so that you can use it. The first major variable we are using is key name. And as you can see, I pass the name of the key. Now, where do you want to download the SSH key to? You specify the path. And this, I'm not going to teach you what's going on here. I'm using this, what's it called? Inbuilt location. Okay, so the path.root means that here, wherever I'm running the thing from, okay, wherever I'm running the thing from, that's the path.root. So it means that in this folder is path.root here, personalized greeting folder. That's the root file. Yeah. And then when we have, that means this is where we are. I want the file to be outside this folder. So I go outside one. Yeah. Outside one. And then I put it in the next folder. Okay. Learn about this. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. And then I have the AMI that I want to use to create the EC2, the instance type, the instance name that's going to be in the tag. Now look, the default tag variable, which is a map, default tag. And if you go to EC2, we have variables. Where is it? We created a default tag variable. It's a map, a map of strings. And as you can see, we just specify that it is equal to, and then we open parentheses, curly brackets, close it, and in there we put two things: key and the value. Key and value. This is a map. Okay. So what we are saying is take this map, and then when you go here, where did we do the map? Yes. Merge everything in this and add one more, a name. That's all. That's what the merge does. So if you look at here, we have two default tags, environment and project. We just want it to also add one more name. That's what the merge does. So by the time you finish, there will be this here. Name is equal to whatever the value is. Yeah, that's what we are. Well, that's another way of adding to the map. That's what the merge is for. Okay, that's what the merge is for. All right, and that's it. Of course, as I said, I'm now specifying which subnet. But for you, your task is to create it in the default for the beginning, and then we will see how we can actually put it in the new VPC. For me, I've managed to put it in the new VPC by putting this here. All I'm doing is going to the VPC module, getting the public subnet ID, and passing it here. You can just put a public subnet ID by going to AWS, finding the subnet ID for the default subnet, and just putting it as a value there. Okay, but for me, I have managed to use my VPC that I have created, the value, collect the value from the VPC module, and put it here for me. So it makes it dynamic. Okay. Then obviously I added my VPC block, which has a source. All of this is I'm not going to teach that today because obviously I want you to go and do the VPC yourself. I want you to go and do the VPC yourself. So any questions with the EC2 module? And if I apply this, it goes and it creates the VPC and the EC2 for me. Okay. Because in this same main.tf, I have one module and I have another module. One is VPC, one is EC2. Okay. And then the VPC module is calling the VPC module and is passing the variables that are needed for that. And as you can see, my subnet, I have public subnet CIDR, which I've just passed a list of the subnet CIDR blocks. And then in the private one, I have another list.
I have a question, OP.
Yeah.
Actually two questions.
Yeah.
The first question is with the public subnets, the public and private subnets CIDRs.
Yeah.
I remember you put that in the default as map of string. Did you not put the values there? Because
no, so the values are not there. So it's like the same way we did here. We just define the variable.
Okay.
And then we can put information in that variable. So this is just creating the variable with empty information.
Can we go to the variable where you are calling the those values from? So
yeah. So this is a map. Right. Yeah. Let me show you the VPC module. Don't worry. It's okay.
Yeah.
It goes here.
I was getting a bit confused there.
That's right. Okay, let's do VPC. All right. And obviously, Don't get confused. I've added things I shouldn't, okay, because I want to teach you things. So this is the resource that creates the VPC. Easy. VPC, name of the VPC, and then you pass in the CIDR block of the VPC and some tags. And as you can see, I'm using a map and a merge. Yeah, you could just put the tags here directly. Okay, and then I create a subnet. This one is the public subnet. Okay, in the public subnet. Oh, this is wrong.
I'm joining with my phone. I'm going to pick up message, so I've joined. That's why you can see me twice on there. So I'm going to hang up on the laptop and continue carry on watching on my phone.
Yeah, this is wrong. We are using count. I wanted to use for each. Why am I using count for? Come on. I haven't taught you count yet. Okay, it would be good to use this, but I wanted to still use the. All right, this is an oversight. This is a pure oversight. All right, that's what I'm saying. Let's not confuse ourselves with the VPC. Let me find another code that is much better. Oh, I should have changed it. I have another one that uses the map. All right, this is it. Let me just name this. Save it. Name it .tf. Yeah. Okay. So already, so I have the code for using the map, which is what we have learned. There are two ways you can use for each here, or you can use count. So the loop, if you remember, I said there are two ways of doing loops. One is for each and one is count. They all will achieve the same results. Okay. So in this VPC module, we create a VPC here, and then we create a subnet. In this subnet, as you can see, we are going through loop through the map, a map of variables, which I'll share with you soon. And for each map, find the value that has VPC ID, CIDR block, and then public IP launch, all this information. And then obviously you're going to do the tag again. We are still doing the merge here for the tags. Okay. And this is going to be for public and private subnet. I would advise that you do it because it will confuse. I'd advise that you have one block for public subnets and one block for private subnet. Okay. That would be my advice. And then obviously we create the internet gateway. We also create the route tables. Okay. And that also we are using for each. We're going to loop through all the created subnets, and we're going to attach route tables to it. Okay. And then we have our route table association. And again, we are using for each there. Okay. So how does the variable look like when it comes to for each? These are the variables. Okay. This is how you create the map. Okay. So a map starts with, this is a variable map of a map. Let's go up for 1 minute. So these are the variables, yeah? And we just specify what it is. We don't do anything more. So it's a CIDR, it's a string. CIDR block is a string. VPC name is a string. Subnet map, we just say we are creating a variable called subnet map. This is the description. And the type of this variable is a map of objects. A map of objects. And the objects are going to be CIDR, public, and the CIDR will be a string. The public will be a Boolean. Yeah, true or false. That's a map. We create another map here. And we just specify. We don't. So creating a map variable, you see, there are two different. One, you just say this is a map of strings. This one, you went further. So you need to go and look into the map variables. Okay. Watch deep dive videos about it. Okay. Then let's say we are going to call this VPC that has this. So this is the VPC at the top. These are the variables. So you're going to have to pass the variables here and look at how we created the map. Subnet map. Yeah. Open parentheses, curly brackets, close curly brackets. And in there, we have public subnet 1, information about it. Also opening a curly bracket and closing a curly bracket. As you can see, when we created the map, we said we want CIDR block is going to be a string and the public is going to be a bool. So that's what we are passing here. Exactly the same. CIDR block is equal to this and the public is equal to bool. So it's this here will pass that information. So it will go through this. The first one, public subnet 1, this is the information we want. Public subnet 2, this is it. So as for each is going through it, it gets to here. First one is public subnet 1, and then it passes that information to this variable. And then it goes to the next one. It takes these values and passes it. The next one, these values and passes it. Okay. Get it? This is how maps are created. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. You need to go and watch videos about Terraform maps. It will help you a lot. A lot. Okay. So this is how I did it. In my code, I have also done very well in there. So I've already completed. I have merged my Terraform code for the VPC, for the EC2. So you can actually look at my project. It's open source. You can just pull it and look at it. I did not obviously add the VPC here on purpose. It's not here yet. And as you can see, we have modules EC2, and it has the EC2 module README, which describes what this Terraform module will do. Okay. And it has the EC2 creation where we just had we discussed that we're creating a key pair and creating an EC2. The outputs, the variables, and then we're going to go and call it from here. So with this one, as you can see, it will create it. It doesn't even have a subnet specified. So it will create it directly into the default VPC. I didn't specify it. And that was the first task. Create an EC2 module and run it. It didn't tell you to put it in any VPC. So the default VPC was okay. So this one here, when you run this, it will create an EC2 and put it in the default VPC. As time goes on, we will then create a VPC module like I've just described, which I have it here, showing you how to use the map. And then we will merge that going forward, okay? And then we will make sure that now we need to go and find the VPC, the subnet value, and then put it into our EC2 so that the EC2 will land in that subnet, okay? So when we meet again, we will look at the other loop. So we are looking at the map loop, and I want you to go and watch a video on your own. Go and master maps, how to use maps, and the for each block, okay? The for each block, okay, which is this, okay? For each function or block or whatever it is, okay? Look into it, do things. You can create as many VPCs. You can even create security groups. You can create anything. If you go to VPC, what can I create more of in a VPC? And then use the for each and a map to loop through it, values, and then to create more of it. Or you can also look at the count as well. Okay. As I said, I have got two ways. I've got the count, this one, and I have also got the for each. And they all will perform the same. They all will loop through a list of resource values and create multiple resources for you on AWS. Okay. Paul, I see you. Unfortunately, this is recorded. I'm going to download it and share it now. What we've done is to go through the EC2 module creation the way I would have done it. That was the first task. So you've done it. Look at mine. I've shared the code as well. And I have shared, I'm going to share this video going through the code as well. So you can have a look at the video. It should be with you in about 20 minutes, 10, 20 minutes. And then just perfect your EC2 module.
The structure looks amazing.
Yeah. This is a professional doing it, you see.
Yeah.
Did you add the internet gateways?
Yes. So public subnet will have to have a route to internet gateway. Private subnet doesn't have route to internet gateway. Yeah. So all of that is done. Yeah. And obviously I have also taken you through partially the VPC, giving you ideas in this video as well, giving you ideas of how to tackle the task. It's good that you go and create this VPC. You have other videos that we have already shared, creating a VPC module. You can look at those, okay? And also, if you want to top up, you can look at this as well. But Chris will attest to this, that he said he was watching the video 3 videos back, and it was clear enough about what we did when we're creating a VPC module. If you don't practice and if you don't read back of what we've done, there's no point. The videos will be done, it'll just be there. Okay. And I'm not going to be sitting here every day giving you all the thing, feeding you again, spoon feeding you when the videos are there. So go back to the videos. I'm going to give you 1 hour more today. Normally we'd finish at 9 if I'm not going anywhere, but I'm going to finish this, share the video, and give you time to practice on your own. You need to be able to create this VPC module with the resources that you have. It doesn't have to be sophisticated like mine. Okay. It doesn't have to, but it needs to achieve the purpose. Whatever you do, then we can compare with mine. Okay. After.
But it's good that you are sharing the code so we can go through.
Yeah. But I didn't share the VPC code. It's just in this recording. So
just this one, okay.
Yeah, it's just in this recording, and this is it. This will create the VPC. Actually, it does also create the EC2, but forget about the EC2. I don't care. Just create the VPC and don't do anything with it. The EC2 will be in public subnet, default VPC. The EC2, the VPC will also be created. It doesn't matter. They don't have any link. As long as you can do that, after we will do the linking. Okay, linking them together. So I have this. This is the map that I created. This is where I'm calling the VPC. And obviously, these are the variables, and this is how I created the map. And this is the EC2 using for each. And this is the route table association. Okay. And also, we got the route table creating. Okay. And we got the internet gateway. We got the subnets, and we got the VPC itself. Okie dokie. Any questions? Right.
No.
No question for me.
The only way I can share this video as fast as possible is when everybody logs out. As soon as you log out, Google will give me the access to the video, and then I can share it. What's happening is sometimes when we say goodbye, people don't click the button and log out. If you do not log out, the call is still ongoing, and Google will not share the video. So on that note, thank you very much. Bye-bye. Sign out.
Bye, Benny.